It's 6 p.m. on Monday, November 23rd, and I'm calling to order the Stowe Board of Education meeting. Ms. Stoikoi, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Gomez?
Here.
Mr. Hall?
Here.
Ms. Moffitt? Here. Ms. Schofield? Ms. White?
Here.
First order of business is a motion to approve the agenda. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the agenda of the November 23rd, 2020 Special Board of Education meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Dr. Hall?
Aye.
Ms. Moffitt?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Opening ceremony. Welcome. Our vision, Cuyahoga Falls City Schools, the hub of our community, committed to a culture of caring. We innovate, we create, we personalize education for all. Informational items. This meeting is a meeting of the Cuyahoga Falls Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business. It is not a public community meeting, although there are opportunities for public participation. If an individual wishes to address the board regarding a topic found on the meeting agenda, the individual must complete a registration form found inside the attendance notebook and present it to the treasurer. Following the introduction of the topic by the board president, followed by board discussion, the individual will be recognized. If an individual wishes to address the board regarding a topic not found on the meeting agenda, she or he must notify the superintendent and/or board president of the topic no later than 7 calendar days in advance of the meeting. These individuals may share their comments during the board business portion of the agenda. In both cases, the individual will preface comments by announcement of their name and address and limit comments to 3 minutes. All statements should be directed to the board president. No person may address or question board members individually. In addition, in public session, the board will not hear complaints about school personnel nor against any person connected with the school system. An unabridged board agenda for this meeting can be found on your electronic device at the address shown on the screen. For your convenience, hard copies of the board agenda may be found on the librarian's desk next to the sign-in book. The next regularly scheduled meetings of the Cuyahoga Falls Board of Education are on December 2nd and December 16th, 2020 at 5:30 p.m. in the Cuyahoga Falls High School Library, 2300 4th Street, Cuyahoga Falls. And now for our Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand as you're able and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
of America,
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item D, board business. There's only one item on the special meeting agenda, and it's a discussion of our return to school. The goal of this meeting is to have an open discussion with the board and the administration and any community members that would like to speak out regarding what is going on with our return to school plan and what direction we should take in the future. We'll open it up for comments.
Okay, I guess everybody knows how I feel, so I'm not really going to talk much tonight because I've already said things over the last couple of months that I feel remote would be best at this point with everything going up. Our hospital's full. My daughter just told me Cleveland Clinic at Akron is 95% full. They're running short of staff throughout Cleveland Clinic, and the numbers keep going up. So I feel all remote. I don't think the hybrid is working too well either. Like I have a 6th grader and an 11th grader at home, and in the afternoons they have no classes. So they're really getting confused and they don't know, they're just not doing as well as I think they did with the full remote from home and seeing their teachers every day. That's my thoughts and opinion.
Yeah, I think I agree that moving to remote is the best option. My kids are really small. Small kids thrive on routine. Hybrid was not working in my home. Once they got used to going to school Monday, Tuesday, as it happened for them, they then had to stay home. And as soon as the teacher signed off to be with the kids in person, and left my kids to do their work individually at home, even with us there, it became really difficult to keep them on task. And then even when we could keep them on task, it was like them kind of hurrying up to finish all their tasks really quick, things that would have to take place over a few hours if they were in person. And then it was that much harder to get them to go back on the computer once it was time to go back on. So I think, for the delivery of the education, in addition to what I think are obvious safety concerns that the community has shared with us by email and everything else, including in our meeting on Wednesday, that going remote, through to at least the Christmas break is the right thing to do. So we've heard you, and I agree.
I want to say a few things. One is that the Beacon Journal did an interesting study on COVID in schools in Summit and Portage counties. And I want to quote a little bit of the information that they shared. As of last Thursday in our district, 0.14% of students had been diagnosed with COVID that we know of, and a larger percentage, but smaller number of staff as well. And I think we've seen with just that super tiny percentage how disruptive that has actually become in our district. If that's what 0.14% of students being positive is going to create the havoc that it's created, if we hit 1% or 2% or any number larger than that, I can't imagine how disruptive that would be. I've had a lot of people ask me, when is enough enough? And that has been weighing on me very heavily. But I also think we need to understand that even when we were in all virtual, people in our district came down with COVID, as terrible as that is. Whether we're in school or not, it is still out there, it is still real, and people will still get it. We cannot, on our own, prevent this pandemic. And I've tried to rely on health department, and there was a big change in Thursday in the stay-at-home order. Even though they exempted school and work, they specifically said at the end that we need to watch our case numbers and reconsider the modalities in which we are teaching kids. And as many people, including Dr. Nichols, shared with us, the CDC quietly changed in-person education to one of their higher risks when it was lower risk originally. And when we think about the vision of what we are as a school district, we talk about being the hub of our community. So even though we might have small numbers of COVID within our buildings, we cannot pretend that we're not impacted by being part of this larger community where it's ravaging. And I really can't act that like I wasn't moved by what our staff said and the community response on Wednesday night. I've been thinking about that a lot as well. And I think it opened up the need for further communication with teachers, which I know isn't what we're here for, but we've got a big need in this district that really opened up a wound, I think, of lack of communication. We've got to work on that somehow. I've been particularly moved by the many stories of parents who keep telling me how badly they want their kid to be in school. Their kid thrives when they're in school. And it would be a horrible hardship for their family if their kids weren't in school. And yet they still don't feel that it's safe for their kids to be in school right now. And I've heard from a lot of people that changing to hybrid will fix these problems, but I just don't think it will, because it only changes the amount of contacts that our students have. Our staff is still seeing all those kids in 1 week. It's not limiting the number of contacts they have. And as much as some people say, well, why can't we just call a mulligan and call the year off? Or why can't we just go forward and act like it's normal? Neither of those are realistic, and neither of those are in anyone's power here in this room. So for me, it's not about caving, as many had suggested. It's about my conscience and how I can live with myself. And I also think we need to reflect on a need for stability. And we have to be honest that I think there's only two realistic options probably for the rest of the school year: virtual or hybrid. We tried 5 days and it does not work. I think we have to go virtual, and I think we should go from Thanksgiving break until at minimum 2 weeks after winter break. And I think we need to consider the strong possibility that we might remain virtual the rest of the year. This pandemic isn't going anywhere. Scientists said that our best bet would be maybe sometime in May we could reach herd immunity with a vaccine. But as we all know, May's when the school year ends. So that's our school year. We have to be honest, I think, about where we're at, about what works and what doesn't work. And 5 days doesn't work. Hybrid doesn't really make staff any safer. And that's just the reality. It's not what's best for everyone. It's not what's easiest for everyone, but I still think it's the right thing to do. I want the community and our staff to know that we have been listening. I know that we've all been very moved by many of the stories people have shared. And it's not about caving to any one person's wills, whims, or desires, but it's truly about being able to look myself in the mirror at night and be proud of the decisions I've made as a school board member. So that's my piece. Mrs. Moffett?
Thank you. Since we're virtual, I'm never sure when someone is stopping and when I should start, but I too have tried to respond, but didn't quite make it, to all of the emails that we've received since last week's board meeting, because I also noticed that there's a parent communication gap between our staff and the board. Some things were expressed that were deeply concerning. And as a retired teacher in the system, I fully understand what they are going through, because I still am in contact with many people who are in the classroom. So as the parents expressed their feelings and the staff expressed their feelings, being the visual person that I am, I did the sticky note sort of board where I divided people into categories according to whether they preferred in school as a parent or a staff member, whether they preferred the hybrid as a parent or a staff member, whether they preferred the virtual and as a parent or a staff member. And I was also indicating areas where they may have had an IEP student or a special education student in the system. And what's very clear is that there's very little support if you're looking at statistics for the in-school 5-day-a-week program that we're currently running. The main concern, as we all know, is for the safety of our students and our staff. And that was the overriding theme with opinions that were expressed last week, as well as the emails that we received. So as I sit here in my home, which is near Broad Boulevard, and hear the sirens going up and down as they're probably headed to Western Reserve, I'm very cognizant of the fact that the numbers in this community are increasing, because I have people in the safety forces as well, and I communicate with neighbors who work in hospitals locally. And I get information from all of these people, as you do, Mrs. White, that the numbers of patients in the hospital that are COVID related are increasing. Therefore, I'm very receptive to information from the health department. I want to hear what our neighboring districts are doing, but I know the only way that we can truly err on the side of caution is to go to the virtual method of instruction. As much as we might want the hybrid and have that contact with our students, staffing is going to be very, very difficult. And I think we've expressed that from the start. So as I was making these forms to fill out, and as I was expressing my concerns to Dr. Nichols and sharing my ideas, Dr. Fauci was telling us how important it is to leave our students physically present in our schools for as long as possible. And therefore, folks, lies the conundrum. I'm finished. Thank you. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, we're here. Thank you, Kay. Thank you, Ms. Moffett. So, since May of last year, on a weekly basis, we've been communicating with Summit County Public Health, my colleagues from Summit, Stark, Portage, Cuyahoga counties, and all across the state, frankly. Staff, parents, board members, of course, etc. And we've been trying to make the best educated decision we can. And you're right, our percentages are not very high. I mean, really, but they are growing. We had, I think, four new cases today. And it's a matter of which 4 cases, quite honestly. I mean, one case could, as we've seen, because they are in multiple buildings and multiple settings, could impact us a lot more greatly than any other case. Ms. Moffett asked what our neighbors are doing. As we heard this morning, I think there were 18 school districts in Northeast Ohio that were transitioning to remote. One of those being our neighbor, Woodridge. And, we maintain very, very close relationships. In fact, Mr. Davis sent me a text letting me know what was going down before it actually went down, because we try to take care of each other that way. And then we had a meeting with Thursday with 19 other school districts. And other than Woodridge and Medina, who was maybe, everybody else was trying to do in-school instruction, in-person instruction. Many of them talked about extending the holidays. Many of them talked about taking a break to some degree in the holidays. Others did not. And as you can imagine, it was all over the place. And so I have notes here from the 20 different school districts and others on this page here that are reporting to Summit County ESC. And so to ask what other school districts are doing, it's all over the board. It is all over the board. And people have been trying to, because we all believe that in-person education is the best delivery model for our kids if we are truly going to try to deliver high quality instruction. But we're trying to deliver high quality instruction in a safe way. And as I responded to many, many, many emails this weekend, if that necessitates us to change our delivery method, then it does. I've tried to be very responsive to the community. And frankly, the move to 5 days a week was trying to be responsive to our community in terms of the survey and so on and so forth. There's some that they're spoken out about not offering the hybrid piece as part of the survey. We were in the hybrid piece and it was not working. And that's why we issued the survey. And so adding that as an option didn't make sense to us at the time. Okay? Because we were in that situation and we had heard loud and clear that it wasn't working. So that's why that wasn't included. I love my staff. I hear them loud and clear. I understand their concerns. And I know that our buildings are different than some, but I also know that other school districts are making it happen, but they're running into similar situations. So, I appreciate the opportunity to speak this evening. These decisions are horrific. I'm going to gather myself for a second. These decisions are horrific. And I take them extremely seriously and very personally, because that's my job. This is my job. It's what I've dedicated 33 years of my life to, and 26 years, well, more than that in administration, I guess. A long, long, long time. And this particular time is the hardest. It's the hardest. And we've been through a lot of hard times here, and I've been through a lot of hard times. But in 10 years, I've grown to love this community and love the people in the community and tried to do right by them at every turn, even if it's not popular. So that's where we are. And I've heard you, the 4 of you, loud and clear this evening as well. Heard our community loud and clear. The tough thing about this is the opinions vary so drastically And there's so much passion around one's opinion. And like I said, I do take it personally, and while I might pretend to have thick skin, maybe sometimes I don't. But nonetheless, it's not about me. It's about our kids. And so our core business is student achievement and growth. I've said that over and over again. Our intent is to deliver high quality instruction in a safe way. And so if we're going to go remote, then we're going to do it well. And I'm going to charge my team with doing it very well, whatever that happens to look like. And I think they're prepared to do so. One of the advantages we have that I'm really proud of our folks, one of the advantages we have is we started the year remote. We've done this. We know how to do this. And so I guess we will do this, and we will do it well. And I would concur with your recommendation and just take us through Martin Luther King Day. I wouldn't mess with bringing us back January 4th, right after Christmas, right after everybody's visiting with each other. Let's be honest with each other. Let's be honest. People are going to meet with their families in our community. They are. They are going to congregate. Maybe not to the degree that they did in the past, and we hope so. And when they do congregate, we hope that they congregate safely, wearing masks. I talked to my 82-year-old mother today about Thanksgiving and what happens when you have a few people together and what we insist then for their health. And so those safety protocols will be put into place. And I hope that everybody else does that as well. Not only at Thanksgiving, but then also over winter break. And then as we come back, hopefully, after Martin Luther King Day, that we'll be in a different situation. My concern is the decision-making process is not going to end. As we get closer to Martin Luther King Day, we're going to be right here again, having this same conversation, looking at the data, continuing to talk to Tanya Burford and Donna Skoda, continuing to talk to my colleagues in Summit, Stark, Portage, and Cuyahoga counties, and trying to make the best decision we can for our students and deliver high quality instruction in a safe way, because our core business is student achievement and growth. And that's all I have to say.
I wanted to add something. Our staff has, in the past week, felt very comfortable sharing with us and emailing us with us. And I can tell you that we have all deeply valued that. And so as we go down this road of going remote, we want to encourage our staff to keep those lines of communication to us open. If there are things that we can do to help make remote better, let us know. Let your administrators know. Let your curriculum people know. Let Dr. Nichols know. Let the board know. Because our goal in going remote isn't just to keep you safe, but it's to give you the tools to educate kids in whatever way you can. So if there's something you need from us, we need to continue to hear from you. And I know that we all do want to hear from you, and we do value what you have to say.
So I will prepare an announcement for the community for tomorrow evening at 6:30, because that's when I always send my announcements, and I'll be consistent with that. And I'll prepare an announcement for our community to go out on the all-call system tomorrow at 6:30.
I just want to say, I wanted to reiterate the point that Anthony made about opening the wound of teachers and staff not being heard, and also reiterate that we are interested in hearing from them. I'm, as you know, pretty new to this board. I don't have the same level of preformed opinions about what's going on in the district. I'm trying to get acclimated as best I can in a variety of ways. So it's really good for me to sort of understand at the outset those kinds of issues, rather than hearing about them, a long time down the road. So I really appreciate that, and I do want to hear about those things. Can I just ask Dr. Nichols, there was a mention made of the quarantine data. in the Wednesday night meeting, getting put back into the COVID dashboard. Have we achieved that?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes, we have. Can I
Yeah.
go further on that? Okay, so some people have asked about quarantine data being and the accuracy of quarantine data. I want to be very clear with folks that, first of all, the quarantine data was removed based on a conversation with Summit County Public Health for two reasons. Number one, we're not mandated to do so. Number two, it's never really going to be as accurate as people might want it to be. It's not going to appear to be transparent, okay? Because folks will know in their buildings and in their communities and in their neighborhoods of people that might be quarantined, but that happens as a result of what happens out in the community. And it's not confirmed here. We are only going to report what we know as a matter of fact, okay? And so when we have a positive case and we do our contact tracing and we quarantine folks, that's going to appear on the dashboard. But if we send a student home because they have the sniffles and or flu-like symptoms and they're home for 10 days, they're not officially quarantined. People might think they're quarantined, but they're really not quarantined, okay? So we're going to report exactly what we know, as a matter of fact. I hope that helps.
Yeah, no, I just, it's something that came up in particular in an email that I got that I just want to make sure, since it came up in the last meeting and in a separate email that I got. I also wanted to just kind of say again about, well, I mentioned that I have small children. One of them is on an IEP. And a lot of people I heard from, to echo something Anthony was saying, were saying that, you know, even though they know their child needs that in-person education precisely because of, you know, them being on an IEP or whatever, they still want to keep their kids home. And I'm one of those parents. My daughter, in the last 5 days, maybe this is TMI, she's been having a lot of trouble with potty training, frankly. She's nearly 6, and this has just been a problem. It's what we've been dealing with. In the last week and a half, she hasn't had a single accident, which in my house right now is like grounds for balloons. I mean, it's just a huge achievement. And so in these 5 days, the progress that she has made today, I got a picture from her teacher showing that she was leading the calendar discussion, which was incredible. She can write the numbers now without the yellow highlighter. Again, incredible. I mean, these are huge achievements for us. But I am just really adamant that remote is the way to go, even in her case. But I also think that remote, because we have done it before, can be the routine that she needs, even though it's not as nice as in-person has been for her in this poorly timed 5-day week. And then the last thing I just want to say again is that, yes, people are going to gather. We would like them to not do that. And we would like to remind people to wear masks and socially distance themselves, because we can make a lot of headway on this thing if we, you know, practice Black Tiger Pride, practice safety.
Let me add one more thing that it's a caveat. When we did remote in the past, we're part of 6th District Educational Compact. And so our career programs were here. Woodridge made the decision to continue with their career programs. We are probably going to do the same. I'm going to have discussions with our folks to make sure that that's the direction they want to go. But the preliminary conversations are such that they want to continue with the career programs. We might also have some special needs students, some students that are on IEPs that are here as they were when we went remote. Those are conversations that still need to take place that over the next day, you know, prior to the message going out and so on and so forth. But I do want to make sure that you know that those are a couple of caveats to our situation.
I think that's the wisdom in how Ms. Schofield has led us by saying not to take a vote, because it gives a direction, but it gives you the flexibility to make it work, and it hopefully doesn't tie your hands in a way that it doesn't make it work.
Well, and I will also say then, you know, I also commend and appreciate our Board of Education for allowing me to lead the charge here and make the decisions with your input and with the input of many other situations. So as difficult as it is to be the the person that makes the decision, as difficult as that is, I appreciate that opportunity and your support.
Before asking for a motion to adjourn, I'd just like to note, and Ms. Schofield didn't ask me to say this, but her inability to be present has nothing to do with her passion for our district, her passion on this topic. And I want people in our community to be very aware of that. There's a situation in her life that required her to not be here, but I can't put into words how passionate she is about this district and about this topic. And I want people listening to know that.
You change it to all time.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Dr. Hall.
Aye.
Ms. Moffett.
Aye.
Ms. White.
Aye.
Mr. Gomez.
Aye.
Your turn.
We are